Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of 0-2 Heroes, the only video game review podcast hosted by an 0-2 shitter. Okay, I take that back. As soon as I said the only, I guarantee you there are a bunch of other podcasts hosted by
screwed
people.
it up, man. You screwed it up.
No, I mean, I guarantee you there's other podcasts out there hosted by people worse than me at video games. I'm not going to sell myself that short. I'm not that bad at video games. But
Good. Yeah, I like that confidence. Okay, I'll stick around.
So, 0-2 Heroes, hosted by someone who's at video games, but I'm not the worst. And we have a very special guest today. We actually have another podcaster. We have the host of the podcast Too Much Energon, the only podcast that goes through the filmography of male porn star Johnny Sins. So please welcome to the show, NeoKal.
Hello.
Now, when my producer sent me that note, that didn't seem right. I just want to check. You do a porn podcast?
Well, there's a few podcasts, but I think that one's being mixed up with my OnlyFans.
Oh, your own. Okay, so what's the name of the podcast you do?
The podcast that I do, there's a couple. One of them is Too Much Energon.
Oh, Too Much Energon.
Too Much Energon, yeah. And if you're familiar with the word Energon, then you may know it is Transformers related.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There's another one. You want to hear that one?
Yeah, tell me that one.
This one, I'll leave the only. This is PG-13, right? Yeah, I'll leave that one off air. The other one is the Lasercomb podcast. Mm-hmm. You could tell how dated. How old we are because Lazor is Lazor. And that one is interesting. We take Patreon requests for random shows. Doesn't matter if we've seen them or not, doesn't matter what era it's from, as long as it's finished and it's not like reality TV show. Mm-hmm. So it can be a cartoon, it could be Are You Being Served, it can be like some obscure, like Western. Yeah. Like whatever it is. A lot of it, because, we're millennial kids, a lot of it ends up being like, cartoons from the 90s and the 2000s. Yeah. But we've seen some interesting things that we had never seen before. And we watch a random episode from that show and then just rate it on that merit. And so, Transformers and random. That's what I do.
Very exciting. So when we first started talking about this, my immediate reaction was, okay, are there Transformers fighting games? But then you already had a game in mind. You pitched me something. So how about you tell us what game we're playing today and why you picked that instead of a Transformers fighting game?
Okay. So I feel like I've been put like typecast here. It's like, okay, this guy's a Transformers guy. He's going to choose a Transformers game. If there's a good Transformers fighting game out there, I have never heard of it. Some of them are most Transformer games are pretty god-awful. But seeing your show, and by the way, I've actually listened to episode 1. Nice. I know I was supposed to pretend I've never listened to anything. But I actually listened to the entirety of episode 1. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, wow, so we're looking for something neither of us have played. Oh, what was that one game that my friend had and it seemed really cool and you died in one hit? And I did a quick Google and I'm like, that's it. Bushido Blade. We're playing Bushido Blade. Nobody's heard of that. Let's give it a spin. And you had asked me, you're like, oh, cool, Bushido Blade 1 or 2. And I was like, let's go with 2. The second game in those obscure series like that are usually a little bit better.
See, that's funny. I did a little bit of research, and apparently everybody likes Bushido Blade 1 better. Apparently we made the wrong choice.
I made the wrong choice. Okay, well, what are you going to do?
I guess we'll just have to have you come back for Bushido Blade 1 on the next episode.
I'm sure somebody will choose Bushido Blade 1.
Now, when we were first talking and trying to figure out games and stuff, at one point you asked me, oh, are you a TO? Which, are you, that made me think, are you in the competitive scene? Did you recognize that as a gamer term? Because most people I interact with, I have to tell them, oh, I'm an esports event organizer, and they understand that to a degree. But like, do you have a history with like going to video game tournaments that you recognize the term TO?
No, no,
Oh, okay.
no. I've always been adjacent.
Mm.
Like never really. Like I'm the guy that when everybody whips out their their controllers and their Joy Cons and all that stuff to play Super Smash. I'm the person that's like, ooh, who's fun? Ooh, I like Bowser. He's a cool guy. He can breathe fire, and I've got like general aptitude at it,
Hmm.
but in no way can I beat the average like player of it. And I've gone to gaming adjacent like events, and I've watched and stuff like that. But it's an order of magnitude. I'm an order of magnitude less than people who've ever even participated, let alone like are good at competitive fighting games. But I recognize the term just because I've listened to one of your Big Drink Energy
Yeah, yeah.
podcasts, and I've listened to episode 1 of this podcast, and I was like, oh, okay. And I've heard that term enough just being like gamer adjacent that I
Hmm.
was like, oh, that's cool.
Now, I think I like he was like, "Oh, cool, you're a TO," and then I explained it. And I'm like, "Oh, you know what a TO is? Like, have you gone to events?" And then you never responded. And I don't know if you did that on purpose because that immediately got in my head. I'm like, "Oh shit, this guy's good. He goes to events. I'm sure he practices. I'm sure he knows what's up. He picked this game, so just like it worked. You got in my head, so you already have the
That's
mental edge."
amazing. That's amazing because I actually don't even recall you asking that. I'm one of those people that's like, ah, cool. I haven't been on Twitter in like 5 days, or opened Discord in like a week.
Mhm.
Sweet. And so, I mean, no, I did that on purpose just to mess with you. Look out! Here comes the pain.
So I was trying to do a little bit of research into like if there was like a competitive or like a tournament scene for this game because I don't even know what like the rule set are. Like that's something you and I like decided a couple days ago about how we're gonna figure out how we're gonna fight and who's gonna win. And I came across a GameFAQs thread, and I was only able to find one video on YouTube of like a tournament somewhere where people were playing this, and it took place. I have it here. It took place in Winnipeg, and my first reaction was like, "Oh man, he's in British Columbia. This is in Winnipeg. They're both in Canada. I wonder if he's ever been there. I wonder if they're close." And that's just me being a dumb American because I looked into it. Winnipeg, British Columbia, not close at all.
It might as well be like Mexico, be because it's far. Canada is wide. Like, what is it? I think Texas is closer to where I'm on the west side
Mhm.
of Canada. Texas is closer to me and faster to get to and cheaper to get to than the East Coast of,
Really?
of Canada. Yeah. It's a chunk country. Yeah. Everything is laid out along the border, just north of the border. And so like there's just one, it's called the Trans-Canada Highway, perhaps you've heard of it.
Hmm.
There's one highway that goes all the way across the country, and if you want to drive it, it takes a long time.
Yeah, I had no idea about Canadian geography. I know like 4 or 5 Canadian cities, and that's it. So in my mind, there's like, oh, like how big is Canada? And then I mapped it, and it's 26 hours. It would take a day and 2 hours of nonstop driving for you to get to this shitty video game store basement to participate in a Bushido Blade tournament.
Yeah. So needless to say, I've done that. That I participated in said tournament. Didn't
Yes.
win. No.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely have not. See, the thing is, we right next to British Columbia, the province I'm in,
Mhm.
there's a province called Alberta, and we call that North Texas.
Oh, free.
And so I've never been I've never ventured over anywhere east, but I have gone south a lot. The funny thing is, I've only ever been in BC. the Canada
Okay.
I'm in, the Canada I'm in, the province I'm in. But I've been in California. I've been in Washington. I've been in Nevada, and big fan of Vegas. And so it's funny. I've explored more of the United States than I have my own country. Big fan of Vegas, by the way. Big
Yeah.
fan of Vegas.
I have not. You've seen more of that part of America than I have. I don't think I think I've been off the East Coast once. So just like you can go to Vegas, you can go to California, and then I can tell you about like New York and Philly and Boston.
Exactly. So you're, other than Seinfeld, you're my East Coast person. That's how I'll learn about the East Coast.
So I actually ended up joining the Discord of like that Winnipeg like video game group, and I was asking them about this game, trying to figure out if they knew the rules, if they knew what was up, and they're like, "No, we kind of just like did it as a joke because no one's ever played this game, so like we just made it up." So like they didn't even know any rules. But so I was the unique thing about this game is like most fighting games, there's like a health meter or a bar or you have lives. This is like a one-hit kill kind of game. So
except when it isn't.
Except when it isn't.
Yeah, let us discuss that. The lethality or the invulnerability of the characters in Bushido Blade 2. Because the idea is like they're samurais. Or samurai adjacent? Yeah, let's go with that. And so, somebody hits you in the head with the tip of their blade and blood splatters in pixels and you're done. Or you probably noticed you get hit in one of your limbs.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can only use like one-handed attacks.
And I think that's really unique. I think that's really cool that like you lose the use of your arm, or like I don't think it was in this game. I looked into it. Apparently in Bushido Blade 1, you could attack their legs and then they would have to either roll around or crawl when their legs were done.
I guess I did choose the wrong Bushido Blade because that sounds really dumb and great.
Yeah.
So Bushido Blade is a LARP.
Yeah, pretty much. That's actually how the game started. The developer, he and his friends as kids, they used to grab sticks and like have pretend sword fights. And he was like, "How do I take that pretend sword fight and like the imagination of a kid and put it in a video game?" So like when the kids were playing, like, "Oh, you got hit with the stick. You can't use that arm anymore. I sliced it off."
We've
and like
all done that.
Yeah. Come again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We've all done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
As kids. Oh, I hit your leg. You have to hop on the other one.
Oh yeah, exactly. So he took that like game style and just put it into a video game for adults.
Actually?
Yeah, I looked. I like to do the bare minimum of research needed to host a podcast. So I read the Wikipedia page for it, and that came up.
That brings me joy.
Yeah,
it's a LARP. My partner was watching me play this, and she was like, "Okay, so elephant in the room. There are characters with guns in the game."
Oh God, I hate the.
Can we just briefly So this is why I think it's a LARP. Like the video game itself, all the characters are in a LARP.
Yeah,
and this is why you have standard kind of like a little ganky kid who's excited to be here. Don't tell me that I'm not an adult. And you have the gruff samurai. Oh man, the voice acting. I'll get into that in a second. And you have all of the different like tropes and then it's weird because then there's like this big blonde lady with a broadsword.
Yeah.
And man, big ADD energy. Completely forgot what I was talking about. Anyways, you play through the story, right? And the way that you unlock new characters is you play one of the 3 main characters from each clan. It's basically Ninja Scroll.
Yeah.
Right? Basilisk, whatever you want to call it. There's 2 ninja clans, and boy, oh boy, they hate each other. And you'll meet a friend along the way. And that friend will be like, "Oh, go on ahead." If you die with that, you get infinite retries in campaign in the story mode. But if you die with this like side character, your main character goes, "Huh, I'm sorry I let you go on ahead without me. and they're just gone. You have to beat that level with that side character to unlock them.
Mm-hmm.
And partway through the story, there's just a character with a gun that shows up. A character with a gun. And in the case of one clan, you fight a character who's a chick. She looked like a Sonya Blade-esque.
Yeah.
And she has an M16. Just not like, like a musket or anything like that. Like an M16, like an assault rifle. And boy, you will die in one hit.
Yeah.
She's cool though. I dig it. But let me tell you how many times I've just got shot and dead immediately.
Because
I learned how to
whole
cheese
thing,
the game. Yeah. Well, how did you fare with the people that just could shoot you dead in the samurai duel game?
I had to look up. At first, I met the character with the gun, and I read online that the gun characters they suck fighting against. I'm like, this doesn't seem too bad. And then she just shoots me in the gut, and I'm dead instantly. And I'm a ninja. I'm running around with the sword. There's not much I could do with that. Okay, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. When I first started playing this game, I kept playing this game. I'm like, man, this game sucks. This game is so slow. I didn't know there was an option to run, so I'm just very slowly scooting back and forth. I didn't realize I could hold down L1 to run. So I had to...
It's a game changer, man.
Oh, yeah, it's a game changer, because I'm just, trying to sidestep bullets, and I can't do that. But then when I looked up how to run, my strategy was literally just run literal circles around her. She keeps shooting, and then runs out of bullets. She only has, 6 shots, and then she can't reload.
So, man, it took me a long time. I'm talking about, my 8th playthrough of story mode to figure out, the gun people can run out of bullets. What? Interesting. Can you believe that's even in the game?
Yeah.
That there is a gun person, but, they run out of bullets. And it's well, that's so weird that they're even in the... that they're even in here.
I guess they were trying to make it fair?
Yeah. So, that's your experience. You're like, now I can run.
Yeah.
This changes everything. So let's walk through us playing story mode here. I very quickly figured out, you got 1 life with the sub characters. You need to finish that little chapter to beat it, right? To unlock that character. And then they go, I've done all I can. You move ahead. And then you resume your main character and continue playing, right? Can we stop and talk about the bosses?
Okay, yeah.
Or do you want to talk about that after?
Okay.
What do you want to
do? You're going to have to fill me in, because I was not able to complete a playthrough of story mode. I would get fed up and then turn it off and then have to come back to it.
Okay.
I was not able to finish one complete story mode. I would get a couple fights in, and I would just keep dying. I was like, I'm going to just restart and pick a different character. So I kept playing through different characters and then never finishing one story mode. So I never made it to the end for anyone.
Whew, okay, so one clan, when you get to the end, their boss is a man who teleports behind you, standing up from his knees, as if he's using some chakra technique. Whenever you do a successful death blow, he just goes and teleports behind you. When you hit him again, he teleports behind you again, but a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. So you have to hit this guy 10-ish times, to the point where whenever you hit him, his range is reduced such that he can no longer go behind you, and you immediately follow up with a quick second attack to hit him, because he's vulnerable while he's recovering from the teleport. If he hits you and you die at any point and you have to restart, you go through this holding the run button, using a running swooping attack, hitting him, running across the map to him, hitting him, running across the map to him, hitting him. And sometimes he'll just decide to attack unpredictably and kill you, and you restart, and it's whew. But that guy's manageable. The other clan's end boss is a man who is immune to all attacks on the front and the side.
So you have to hit him from the back?
When you hit a successful attack, he does this kind of like Super Saiyan pose where his arms just go out and he doesn't move for like a split second. And then you can keep attacking him and you just keep bouncing off of his armor. You need to get behind him or wrap an attack around somehow to kill him. But even that's not a guarantee because as long as you time your parry properly, he can just parry you from behind.
Oh, wow.
So that boss can either take 10 seconds or or so long that you leave RetroArch playing in the background so you could step away from it.
Yeah.
And you had been like, oh man, like I see that you're playing a lot of RetroArch.
Yeah, you had it hooked up to your Discord.
Yeah, and you're like, oh geez, I'm sweating. He's on this all day. Yeah, it's open all day, but let me 95% of that time I'm letting me chill out because I had the same thing. I'm like, and you didn't even get to the boss.
I didn't even get to the boss. No, I kept dying. I
had that frustration where I'm like, oh, okay, I have infinite retries, thank God. But I need to step away. I've just died like 11 times. I can't, these bosses are BS. And I did play through story mode, especially when I found out, oh, well, if that sub character that I'm trying to unlock dies, I'm just going to quit and restart. And yeah, like I had said earlier, half an hour before we started recording, I had just unlocked the last character. So clearly I have played through story mode enough that I have the characters.
Yeah. And I think it's also cool because now you've got to play all of the characters at least a little bit. I like I said previously, I went through when I got the 100% save file, so I had the whole roster, and then I was just going through like, this character looks cool, I'll try them out, or like, oh, I've never seen this one, and I was just like playing a random assortment of games with them, but I didn't get to go through story mode with any one character incomplete, just because more so than getting frustrated that they would kill me in one hit, I was getting annoyed that matches were taking too long when we would just keep clanking swords and I couldn't land like a death blow.
Right. So something I had found out like just today through playing 100 slashes mode. Basically, you keep playing until you cut through 100 characters, and it times you. And you can die and continue, but it adds 30 seconds to it.
Okay.
The way you unlock the gun characters is by beating 100 slashes mode in 15 minutes or less.
So did you get the gun characters?
Oh no.
Okay.
My best time is like I've only gone through it twice. And my first time was like 20 minutes and 8 seconds, and the second time was 17 minutes and 30 seconds.
So I haven't been able to check, but because I downloaded the save file, in theory, I should have the gun characters. But the gun characters aren't available in any single player mode. They only come up in like player versus mode. So once we start playing, the gun characters should be there. But I have not been able to practice with them or anything, because I can't get them playing solo.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Now, before we get into the actual fight, we were discussing how we're going to play this, how we're going to win, because matches can either be done in a matter of seconds because it's one hit, or you go back and forth because you're both just clanking swords. So we agreed we're going to do a best 2 out of 3, and then whoever wins 5 best 2 out of 3s wins the whole thing.
If it's taking a long time, maybe 3. You know what I mean? We'll gauge it. Yeah. The 2 out of 3 format until we're like, yeah, we're done.
Because it was tough to come up with the rule set, because like I was like, we could do like a first to 3, but that might not be enough. We could do a first to 7, that might be too long. We could do a first to 5, and that is both simultaneously too short and too long. Just like because matches they're so varied.
What I like the idea of is okay, well, you won the first 2 out of that fight. Okay, new characters, new weapons. We haven't mentioned it, but apart from all the characters, there's 7 weapons you can choose from.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of, okay, new character, like new weapon. Oh, well, wow, that was bad. Okay, new character, new weapon. And then it mixes up its variable rather than just being like ninja number 2 holding katana
Yeah.
like five times in a row. I feel like that gives you the broader Bushido Blade
Hmm.
experience.
And part of the research that I do going into this, I like to have, if there is one, like a general consensus tier list of like, and then we can talk who's the best character, who's the worst character. But one, this game wasn't like big enough to have like people to get together and vote on that. And two, I think there's something like 30 characters, and they each have access from anywhere from like 5 to 7 weapons. So that's something that's like way too many combinations for people to rank. So I don't know who the
So
best
what
and
you're
who the worst
saying
character.
is
Yeah.
I'm the foremost expert on Bushido Blade at the
Probably.
moment.
We
Okay, okay.
me and my co-host Alex of the Big Drink Energy podcast, we talk about this all of the time. There's a Cartoon Network fighting game called Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion. It's essentially Smash Bros but with Cartoon Network characters, and both of us are top 10 in the world in that game because there's only 9 active players.
Amazing.
But people don't know that. So like I had to like fill out an esports resume one time for like to work at this convention. And like in other accomplishments, I mentioned I was top 10 in the world in this game, and they're not going to fact check me on that. They don't know how many players we have.
Amazing. I mean, technically, you know what? So what you're saying is if I joined the scene, I would be in the top 10.
Yes, you would be player number 10. You could not even like touch the controller, but just like actively participate in discussion. 10th best player in the world,
Amazing.
guaranteed.
Well, you know what? Here I am. I've talked about it enough that I'm the 10th best player in the world. What game was it again?
Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion.
There we there we go. Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's. I think people just call it either Punch Time or PTE because it's way too long.
Yeah, punch time. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
there
Punch
you go.
Time's fun. And then the last bit of research I have, there wasn't a lot of research for this game anywhere, like either on the playing side or the development side. I joined a really big like fighting game Discord server, and I asked if anybody had any information, and it was like, "Oh yeah, it's really popular. It's like you can play it here. It's on this." And it's like, "No, no, 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 no. You're thinking The Last Blade. I'm talking Bushido Blade." And when you first pitched this game to me, I also thought The Last Blade. I'm like, "Oh, cool, we can do that." It's like a similar vibe, but it's this game but 2D instead of like moving around in 3D. And I just think it's funny how everybody just assumes it's the more popular game. No one could be talking about this obscure PS1 game. It has to be the more popular Last Blade.
Are you sure that you're mistaken? You must mean the last blade. And you're like, no, no, I'm sorry.
Okay, just to check, we are playing Bushido Blade, right? I haven't been practicing the wrong game for the last month.
Oh, we're playing Bushido Blade.
Okay,
Sure.
fantastic. But that's everything I have so far. Is there anything you want to talk about before we get into actually playing the match?
Before we get into it, I think that it is interesting that in one of the one of the clan endings,
Mhm.
there are multiple endings.
Oh, really?
After you beat teleporty bullshit dude, um, there is a shrine maiden, the last heir of the Kagami family. And she's just sitting there like praying. She's wearing like a very ornate, like
Mhm.
traditional dress. And I'm like, oh, weird. And I'm running around with and you have to get the ancestral katana through
Yes.
the story mode to kill her with. You don't have your character's weapon. It's a special weapon that you need to fight and capture. And while running around, I realized that if you go in the opposite direction, there's a small, what's supposedly a door. And if you run towards it, you change the ending where your character does not kill the last heir. And it
Mm.
plays a little voice acted like cutscene regardless of what choice you make. I I don't know, I've never seen that before. I think it's interesting. It has no consequence on unlocking characters or anything like that,
Oh.
but
Just to, I guess, for you to replay it and like pick a different one or something.
Yeah, let's see how the character reacts.
Yeah.
Like some people are like, "Huh, it's finally over," and that's that. And then if you beat the game again, beat story mode again, and then run away, and you're like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm thinking. Why would they? Why would that girl not defend herself? I can't cut down an unarmed opponent." Like it's little things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Thought it was neat.
Yes, it seems very interesting. Like, hearing you talk about it, if I get my ass kicked, I probably won't go back to it. But if it's close, I might go back and try and finish story mode at least with one character and just play that through and see how it goes. Because it seems interesting. There's like a whole story, it's like continues off of Bushido Blade 1, that the warring clans, they used to work for the same boss, and then the boss died, and then one like decided to continue being good, and then the other clan was like, I'm gonna go work for the guy who killed our boss, and then like someone stole a sword, and like apparently this takes place a couple hundred years after Bushido Blade 1 or something, and it's like a continuation of that story, like the next generation down.
Yeah, this is like in modern adjacent times. I got 80s vibes from it.
Yes, and just like okay, we can talk about it when we come back from the break, because there's one character in particular I want to play as, and I think maybe more so than the gun characters. He seems very out of place, but he's just like, I was very excited that he was there.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, thank you for listening. Stick around. We'll be right back after a quick word from one of our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll have more Bushido Blade. Have you heard the expression, don't bring a knife to a gunfight? Well, odds are, if you show up to a gunfight, so is your opponent. So what do? You bring a bazooka to a gunfight. But if you think about it, your opponent probably realizes that and is also going to bring a bazooka to a gunfight. So now the two of you are in a bazooka fight. So what do? You are going to bring a comically large Rocky and Bullwinkle style bomb to the bazooka fight. But unfortunately, your opponent is probably also going to think the same thing and also bring a comically large Rocky and Bullwinkle style bomb to the bazooka fight, making the whole thing a comically large Rocky and Bullwinkle style bomb fight. So what do? That's where we come in. Introducing the Kablow Build Your Own Atomic Bomb. That's right, you heard me correctly. You can now build your own atomic bomb from the comfort of your own home. Just follow our very, very simple 3,271 step instructions, and you will have your own working atomic bomb. Bring it wherever you like. You'll be the talk of the town. Bring it to the comically large Rocky and Bullwinkle style bomb fight. Bring it to school the next time your class does show and tell. Bring it to the next family reunion. Everybody's going to be so jealous. Ordering is simple. For 72 easy payments of $1,999.82, this could be yours. But act fast, we only have one. That's right, you heard us. We only have one build your own atomic bomb kit. Let's say you want to bring your atomic bomb to the comically large Rocky and Bullwinkle style bomb fight, but your opponent also has their own build your own atomic bomb kit, and they bring their atomic bomb to the comically large Rocky and Bullwinkle style bomb fight. You now have an atomic bomb fight, and that's no good. That's what the whole Cold War was fought over. We don't want another Cold War. So, we only have one, which means you better use it wisely. Order now at www.iwanttobuildmyownatomic bomb to bring to a comically large Rocky and Bullwinkle style bomb fight so I can win.com before we sell out. Act now. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking around through that ad break. I hope you enjoy their product and go support whoever that may be. I actually haven't listened to this week's sponsor yet, but go support them. I'm sure they're a fantastic company and whatever they do.
I endorse them.
Yeah, full endorsement. Doesn't matter what it is. I don't know. I'm saying this. It might be like an atomic bomb manufacturer or something. So let's hope it's not an atomic bomb manufacturer this week. But if you're interested in getting the full Bushido Blade 2 experience, we just played our match, and NeoKal won in a very close 5-4 match. The YouTube link for that is going to be in the liner notes. So if you want to go check that out, we had a lot of fun playing that. I think we played a total of 20 different characters out of the 30 character roster. So pretty much almost everyone was included there.
It was eclectic. Yes.
Now, I did not realize this when we first started playing this, but like it takes place in modern day. You mentioned that when we were actually fighting, and that's why there's so many characters all over the place. I thought it was just like in feudal Japan still, but that makes sense because okay, out of all the character designs, who did you like best? Like who did you think was like your favorite character?
You thought it was feudal Japan, but there's a lady with an M16.
I thought it was just like time displacement. I don't know.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, that's why I joke that it's a LARP. That's why
Yes,
their
like that's what I
outfits are
thought it
all over the
was.
place. Yeah, it's a LARP because their outfits are all over the place, and it's just like, oh, Tim, we're supposed to be feudal Japan, and like a dude shows up in a purple suit, and he's like, "How's it going, baby? I'm here to
Yeah.
boogie." Yeah. My favorite character design. Ooh, wow. How do I? Here's the thing. It's out of place. So my second and my like runner up answer is Tony.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody that didn't watch the gameplay on YouTube, Tony is a like an African American purple suit wearing disco fever. He has an afro. He dances. He calls people baby. His shirt is open. He's wearing sunglasses, even though most of the levels are at nighttime.
Yeah.
He's up there, but I don't feel like he's iconic of the game. And I kind of like. I'm terrible with names. I can't just say the white-haired Sephiroth dude.
I was going to say you one of us played as that character. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Right. I feel like some of the characters are just like the tattooed, like shirtless dude that you played
I
at
liked
the end
him.
there. He feels very Tekken-esque.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, and I feel like they're inspired by just whole games rather than like individual characters. Like none of them stand out a great deal. Like Night Stalker is just like a Ninja Gaiden-esque looking guy.
Yeah.
And there's Samurai with a turtle hat. Yeah.
This game was designed and published by Square, the same people who did the previous fighting game we had on this when we covered Air Guys. And I don't know if it's the same character designer, but with Air Guys, what they did was, like you mentioned, each character was designed after another fighting game series. Like they had the Street Fighter guy who just looked like a karate guy in his gi. They had the Tekken character who had like spiky hair, flames, and like baggy pants, and just like so. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like he was supposed to be their Tekken character, and they just made that, you know?
Right. You know what? I'm gonna go with the insane clown.
Oh, he was terrifying.
He feels like somebody that is dangerous because he fears not death.
And,
Right? Just like he's there to have a good time, scream at people. The old like weird like admiral, the old dude who goes ah and like yells and can make you drop your weapon. He's kind of cool too. The oddball characters is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, they stand out. There's just a very like thick, strong blonde woman in the game called Red Shadow. She's I don't know why she's there, but I'm on board.
The creepy looking clown, the name is Sazanka. He's 6'2", 159 pounds, and apparently he's age 43. He's much older than I expected.
I expected about that, yeah.
But for our listeners at home, you're probably thinking like a Ronald McDonald clown. No, this is like an old school like Japanese theater clown. We're just like,
yeah, like kabuki theater.
Yeah, it's even more terrifying than a Ronald McDonald clown.
It's almost like his clothing style has been influenced by like Dutch traders.
Yeah, because he has like little buckle shoes and like little
He's got
like
buckle
tall
shoes.
socks.
Yeah, on that neck frill.
Mm-hmm.
So he has like that Renaissance like Dutch trader kind of look to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were just calling him Insane Clown Posse when we were playing. But to sum up what had happened in the match there, it was interesting. It went like one of us won, the other did. One of us won, the other did. One of us, and the whole time, especially except when you played Tony, that was pretty decisive.
Yeah.
It felt pretty close,
Yeah, it was a
except
lot of
when
back and
it
forth.
wasn't. Sometimes it'd be like stab in the head. Okay, round 2. Oh, another stab in the head. Well, okay, you won that one. Let's go. And other times we got to run around and do flips and
Thinking about it, I don't think there was ever one game, because we did a bunch of little 2 out of 3s. I don't think there was any single game that went to a game 3. I think if you won the first one, you then immediately won the next game and like you won that whole round. I don't think there was like that much back and forth in an individual game, if I remember.
the gun when we were the gunslingers.
Oh, you're right. The gun one did it. The gun one was so stupid.
I taunted. You rolled out of prone because I couldn't shoot you when you were prone.
Because I'm on the ground.
So I was like, there's nothing I could do. And she can't jump. She just taunts.
Mm-hmm.
So she like does this belly laugh, and you rolled up and like shot me in the gut and killed me. And then I won the next one by knock. Oh man! So anyone listening to this, please go and watch. Our technique was running at each other, and something goofy happens in Blade and Soul. When you're running, the game tries to maybe calculate who's heavier and what angle you're coming at, and you kind of bounce off each other, but sometimes one of you goes prone. And a good like 20 seconds of the match, you're like, I can't get up.
Yeah, you're just on the ground.
And you're rolling. You're rolling sideways. And I guess when depending on what direction you are facing, you just roll, and you need to go lateral or horizontal to get on your feet, depending on what position you are in prone. And yeah, I just like laughed. You shot me. The next round, I think I got you with my last bullet.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, what happens when we both run out of ammo?
Yeah, I don't know. Does the game restart? I know there are some levels that have like
I bet you nothing.
ring out, like you can get pushed over the edge. But if it's not one of those, I don't know who wins.
Just nothing. We need to exit. I bet you there would be no way for us to finish each other off.
Oh, probably not. But that's actually like part of what I was saying in Bushido Blade 1, where like you could attack the legs and they're just on the floor. They just like roll around like that. But in Bushido Blade 1, like there was more, in addition to having different types of weapons, there was more attack versatility. Like in this, you have 3 stances and then like an X and like a circle attack. In the first Bushido Blade, you had the 3 stances, and then you had high, medium, low attacks for all of them. So they were like more, like they were just like actual more distinct moves you can do. So I'm assuming if they were on the ground, you would have to hit them with like a low attack or something for it to hit them. Whereas here, we don't have that.
In here, if you're not aware of it's very it's similar to Soul Calibur in the sense that holding forward and pressing an attack is different than holding back, or just not moving at all.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with that, and the enemy's prone, and now's my chance, you might just accidentally stab the air above them. So you're right. Yeah. In the first game, where you get to decide low, medium, or high, or whatever, it's probably much easier to take a swing at that person after you knocked them down. Sometimes less is more, though. Yeah, I need to go and play the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I like this game. I didn't like it the first couple weeks, but we had to postpone.
I was about to say neither did I.
But there's something here. I'm gonna keep it on RetroArch.
Like if they somehow like polish it and make like a Bushido Blade 3, I think that could be a lot of fun. They actually, have you ever heard of the game Samurai Gun?
No. Yes. Wait.
Okay.
Yes.
It's very similar to this. It's another like one-hit KO like game, but instead of being like a 3D battle arena like Tekken or Soul Calibur, it's a Smash Bros style, like a platform screen, and everybody has a sword and a gun with 3 bullets. And like it's little sprite characters, like the old school Mario ones, like that size, and they jump around, and it's another one of like one-hit KOs, and like it's a very similar, just like Japanese inspired game, but there's just like randomly a cowboy with a gun, and like you don't really know like what time era it takes place in. But I got a lot of like, I can see the inspiration from this going into that. So I don't know if there's definitely like less moves if there's literally just like the one like sword swipe, but you can like move around more. You
Pixely,
can jump off of
it's quick
walls.
rounds. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
bounce off walls. I'm looking at it here. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like if you enjoyed this, and not you specifically, just like you, the listeners, you, anybody at home, if you enjoy Bushido Blade, I think they would also enjoy Samurai Gun. I played that before. I brought that over to like a party one time, and we played it on my computer, and it was fun. And rounds go really quick. It's like probably even quicker than this. So just like it's really easy to like, oh, I'm out. Who's next? And just like it's a fun background game.
Did you ever play Needhog?
No. But that was another
Oh,
game I looked into that, like, apparently this was an inspiration to that game as well.
look, much more so. Check Needhog out.
It's the fencing game, right?
It's a fencing game, and it's one of those. Oh, you killed me. Now you get to traverse the map from right to left. You have like a little arrow saying you're
Oh,
allowed to
okay.
go as far left as possible. It's my job to stop you from going left, but also kill you so that I get the arrow and I can go ahead. Because you can't traverse to the next screen until you've killed them and you have the go, right? And you die
Oh,
a whole
okay.
bunch of times. One of you is pink, one of you is yellow. You spray blood, your color everywhere, and then it permanently stays on the little map. And it's
Oh,
very
that's cool.
fast paced, and it's up there. I'd played it before, so I didn't offer that up.
Yeah.
Whereas I had like barely even like heard of this game, so I jumped on Bushido Blade too. But you were talking about, oh well, if it's similar to this or this,
hmm
there's a game coming out called Die by the Blade, which is like the spiritual successor of Bushido Blade. Have you heard
What?
about that? I did some research myself.
No, I'm looking into that now. But Die by the Blood. Oh,
Yeah. And the website is dbtb, like the Die
yeah.
by the Blade, game.com. And there's a
Sweet.
trailer for it on
Yeah.
Steam. There's no release date or anything. And same thing, but like a little more transparent than Bushido Blade. Whereas you don't really know what you're doing in Bushido Blade, and it's kind of jank. Die by the Blade is very much like, oh, it tells you what direction the last swipe was.
Yeah.
And you use the right analog to parry. And if you parry the right way, then you open up your enemy to a counterattack kind of thing. You die in one hit. It's basically the spiritual successor of Bushido Blade.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and it looks like Bushido Blade after 20 years of like polish and being worked on. So like
Right?
I can definitely see it. Yeah.
Right? I added this to my watch list. Now that I've been playing Bushido Blade, I'm like, there's something here. Like I like that feel. It's so satisfying when you're playing through story mode, or I was playing 100 slashes mode, and you just kill a ninja one hit, and then you dodge the next one, and you get him in one hit, and you get the next guy in one hit, and you parry. By the way, did you even know there was parrying in Bushido Blade?
I knew there was parrying in Bushido Blade 1. There was a specific button. I thought for parrying in this, like, so you know how there's 3 stances? If we had the same stance, I thought it was like a rock, paper, scissors type thing. Where, like, certain stances, if you attacked at the same time, they would parry based on what stance your opponent was in.
It's a little more simple than that, and yet so much more complex. Basically, if you hit me with a circle attacks are either thrusts or overhead attacks. So
hmm
let's call that vertical. And X attacks are horizontal attacks, so slashes. If on the point of impact you hit the opposite button from the attack I'm using, like a blue spark comes out
Oh,
after
okay.
the block. A red spark comes out when you hit the wrong button or don't block it properly. And then you catch the opponent off guard for like an eighth of a second and gives you a window for like a weird quick counterattack.
Oh, okay.
Even after me playing through the story mode enough times, it wasn't until I went into 100 slashes mode that I really started actually trying. And it's difficult, but it started getting rewarding.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just so today, the day of recording this, I was like, wait a second, I've been playing this wrong. And then none of it matters anyway, because, you just do a running
Yeah,
slash and
I was going to say, like, I came in, like, there's a strategy I want to use. I was going to try and, like, get you off guard, like throw a shuriken, and when you're stuttering, I'm gonna like run up and get you from behind. And then when we're actually playing, I'm just gonna run and slash.
But there was that one level where you were Red Shadow, and you literally just won by running and slashing.
Yeah.
And I'm messing around and throwing things and trying to figure out this is what this attack is. And no. Sometimes you just hold L1 and press X.
Yeah, and it works.
And it works.
Now I'm looking at my notes here, and the only thing I have left that I want to bring up was if you were in charge of this game and you could add any character to it, either a guest character if you think there was someone that would fit the vibe, or if you think the game is missing, oh, you know what? This game, it needs this type of character, this character design. Who or what would you add to this?
That is an interesting question. Like it's immediately my head goes to it's missing an old man with like the rice like farmer hat.
The hat? Okay, yeah.
Like that triangle like hat that covers the eyes, right? And maybe he's got like a pipe or like a piece of straw in his mouth.
Yeah.
And I mean they got gun character. They have kind of like turtle helmet, like very serious guy. Tatsumi, who's from the first game. He's kind of like the young, I think his outfit's like yellow. It's very Bruce Lee adjacent.
Yeah.
But when I played him, he was dressed like a modern private school student.
Now that you say that I looked into this. You know, you said you thought you clicked like a different button, it was a different costume. All of the characters, they have their story mode costume and then their multiplayer versus costume. It's not anything that you could have picked. Those are the two different designs. It just hit me that I remember reading that.
That's why they looked different.
Yes.
That's why Sephiroth looked like a Pokemon trainer.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, probably the iconic like where's my like triangular hat.
Yeah.
Silent protagonist character, or subtly seductive lady with eye patch, and
okay,
you know what I mean, like she's wearing a kimono, it's a little short, she has an eye patch, you don't know where she's from, is she dangerous? She has an eye patch, so she must have lost it somehow.
It sounds like are you a fan of Guilty Gear?
I'm aware of Guilty Gear. Let's say that.
they have a recurring character, and it's the newest character that just got announced for their most recent game, and she's like that. She has an eye patch. Instead of having like a short little kimono, she has just like
it's open in the front. Every game that she's in, her breasts get larger.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm aware that and they went hard on that one. I think she has one arm.
Yeah, she has one arm. And I could be wrong, but I think she has an eye patch too. I'm not super into Guilty Gear, but I'm pretty sure she has an eye patch. So what you're describing is just like you want her in this game.
I am basically like, here. You know what? I'll be able to.
Yeah, she does have an eye patch.
Gear eye patch lady. Let's see. Guilty Gear eye patch lady.
It's
Bacon.
Yeah.
Oh, Bacon. Sweet, even better.
Whoa,
Google Images, folks.
Yeah.
So basically, I want Bacon in.
Yes. So you know how I said when I looked it up, everybody thought we were talking The Last Blade? I believe it's Soul Calibur. The last two Soul Calibur DLC characters were someone from Last Blade and Baiken from Guilty Gear. They got added to that. So without even knowing, you just further added to the confusion of, are we talking Last Blade or Bushido Blade?
Uh-oh. You know what? Speaking of Soul Calibur, there's no pirate character.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Pirate character.
And
they've got crazy clown. Yeah, there you go. I changed it to where's my pirate character? Isn't there a ghost pirate in Soul Calibur? Yeah, I think so.
I think so. I haven't played Soul Calibur since like Soul Calibur 2 for like the GameCube. So I'm behind quite a few games.
They're all the same, right? You've got Samurai Guy, you got that like short-haired like MILF that uses a chain whip.
Yep.
That's what else do you need to know? Oh, there's the meme that like Sophia's like loses more and more clothes between each game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
between
yeah.
every version.
Yeah.
I was about to say, that's everything I got. Do you have any closing remarks, any statements you want to get out there before we shut the mics off?
Any statements? Well, I guess I can like plug my.
Yeah, go ahead, plug yourself. Just like let me hear it. Where can the people find you and your numerous both safe for work and not safe for work podcasts?
All right, because they are numerous. Well, if you like Transformers, check me out at Too Much Energon. You can actually find that like anywhere. It's even on YouTube because we record video for that too, so you can see what I look like. And if Reboot, as in like the 90s animation cartoon Reboot, is up your alley, I do Reboot podcast called Alpha Numeric. And that's fun. And lastly, there's a little something called the Laser Comb Podcast, where we cover and discuss random episodes from random or Patreon requested TV shows. And it doesn't matter if we've seen them or not. We just watch it, we talk about it, and that's that. And you can follow me on Twitter at NeoKal, NEO_KAL. And I pretty much just, post links to the podcast, but mostly post memes. It's mostly a meme thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's been actually a lot of fun. Like hanging out, talking with you, playing Bushido Blade. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. We talked about this when we were playing the actual game, but for everybody not watching the YouTube video, we both said how much more fun it was to play against someone as compared to just going through it by yourself. Just like playing that game solo, not very enjoyable, but playing it with you makes it that much better.
It's so weird when we started playing and then you immediately start sprinting, which is not something the computer does.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, I need to completely rethink what the heck.
Yeah,
because like the computer doesn't run. The computer doesn't run. The computer doesn't retreat. Right? Like, I have no idea what's going to happen. Are you going to throw mud at my face? Are you going to throw whatever weapon it is? And it's some of the episodes make it. Some of the matchups made it look like we both knew what we were doing, and they were great. And then other matchups, like one of us would die, and I'd be like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was looking the opposite direction from you, and you like hit the back swing of my weapon, and it's that amount of chaos. A quick chaos that I was really hoping for.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I dig it. I'm definitely keeping it around.
Yes, I was about to say I don't know if I'm going to continue playing it by myself, but I'm going to keep it downloaded, and maybe next time someone comes over, I can break it out and we can see how that goes.
It's definitely one of those games where there's clearly there's no advantage between how much you've played.
Oh yeah,
and because I'm like, you know what? I feel like I got this. It feels like, it feels like I played this way more, and I've definitely got this. And then the game comes in, and you run, and you're throwing weapons, and you're throwing dirt, and I'm throwing a frog, and it's just like, oh, okay. There was no amount of planning that.
Yeah, it just turns into nonsense.
There's no amount of planning that could have. I didn't even know about the frog thing until you you read that to me.
Yeah. That was I read that character description on Wikipedia, and that was one of the more wacky ones, so I wrote that one down to keep it in mind.
We got to see it in action.
Yeah.
Very, very fun. Highly recommend.
Yes. I asked this last episode. I wasn't sure if I was going to bring it back, but I like this as a recurring segment. I don't want to call it Smash or Pass, because it would be the opposite of that, but a lot of times, because it's on the computer, and I have like my old Smash games also on emulators on the computer, I'll get bored after a couple hours or a little while playing this, and I'll switch to Smash. You're getting together, you're having a laser comb reunion. You guys are getting together, you're going to do it in person. and all your fans are
Right.
there, and you're throwing a big party. Would you bust out a Smash Bros. Game, or would you bust out Bushido Blade 2?
I would bust out Bushido Blade 2.
Nice, okay.
I have reasons for it. Smash, the people that have played a lot of Smash are just going to dominate, and everyone else is going to play
course.
one round and not have a great time and put it away after 20 minutes. This is, I want to play the insane clown guy. Ooh, but this time I'm going to use a broadsword. Oh, but I want to play the clown guy, and he's going to use a spear. It's when you lose, it doesn't feel like you did anything wrong, whereas it is decisive when someone is better at you than Smash.
Yeah.
And so it's that oddity where you can pass it back and forth enough times, especially since the matches can last like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You can pass it around, and people will be like, okay, I'm going to play, I don't know, this gun person. Let's see how this goes, and see how either great or terrible that match goes. And I think it has that novelty of being random enough that even when you lose, you have a fun time.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So definitely Bushido Blade.
Okay, fantastic. So far, Smash has a losing record. No one has picked Smash over whatever game we played that episode, which I guess is cool. It means we're picking, like, good games.
Interesting games in the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've all been very unique.
No one's gonna sit down and play it like for like a couple hours with me. But like for like 20 minutes, half an hour,
yeah, exactly.
It's a riot.
Over on my end, I would like to give a special shout out to so every episode we have a rotating staff of interns from Camden County Community College who help us out with stuff like this. Our producer, he's actually the one that gave me the wrong information saying you had a Johnny Sins podcast. I'd like to give a special shout out to our producer, Glenn Affleck, our editor, Riley Cyrus, and our sound engineer, Clark Ruffalo. So thank you for the three of them.
The Clark Ruffalo?
Yeah, the Clark Ruffalo.
Nice. I'm a big fan of his work.
Oh yeah, he's one of the best interns I've had. But
I look forward to seeing what their future projects bring.
If you enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe to it. So this is like the miscellaneous podcast feed. If you subscribe to this, you'll get access to this, the podcast we do on the Mighty Ducks cartoon. I'm recording another podcast tomorrow where I'm going to start interviewing people in the indie comics world, like writers, artists, publishers. If you're into that thing, you're into that sort of thing, the BDE Showcase, what you're listening to right now, it'll get a little bit of everything. If you're interested in energy drinks, my other podcast is The Big Drink Energy. You can find that on all podcast platforms. You can find me on Twitter at Mikey Tabletop. I'm not very active there. I'm much more active on the podcast Twitter. You can find us at BDE Pod. That's where you can get information on all of the different podcasts that we do over at BDE. I don't think I have any other plugs. I don't have a lot. It's just listen to my podcast, follow me on Twitter. I'm real easy like that. Do you have anything else you want to plug?
If I'm not your flavor, but Transformers Media and stuff is, you can just follow the show's Twitter at Too Much Energon, all one word. And nice. That's pretty much it. I'm looking forward to seeing who else you play against and what games you have to offer, friend.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see where this goes. This is only episode 2, so I'm hoping I can get a couple more people on. It doesn't end at episode 2 like the Mighty Ducks cartoon, but it seems like people are enjoying this so far, so I'll keep it going, trying to find more wacky games. But if there's nothing else, thank you so much for being on. We had a blast, and Clark Ruffalo, take us out.